First of all, look at vehicles in operation, or those that are on the road. You see there's about 240 million vehicles in operation in the United States today. A couple of trends that have been happening. One, the average age of vehicles is about 10 years right now. That's up 3 months from 2009, so people are keeping their vehicles a little bit longer than they used to. Second, you'll see that there's a big tail off at about the 15-year mark. So about 80% of vehicles on the road are 15 years or newer. See, there are a couple of big categories that take up a big chunk. The first one, full-size pickup trucks, and then the second one with the cars like the Camry and the Accord. Those first two categories account for almost 28% of the vehicles that are on the road today. And with all the talk we see about hybrid vehicles, it's kind of interesting to note they still represent less than 1% of the vehicles on the road. And corporate loyalty, as we're defining it, is if you bought a vehicle, somebody who repurchased a vehicle with that same car company. Okay, so not necessarily, it doesn't have to be the same make, but the same car company. So what you see here is 2009 versus 2010 in terms of corporate loyalty, and you'll see, for example, some significant gains on there, and a lot of times they're tracked close to market share as well. What Ford has done, gains by Hyundai, and then significant gain, again, by Subaru, who's been, as a lot of you know, while being a smaller manufacturer, has continued to make significant inroads in terms of share and volume gains. GM, in fairness, there is down for the year, but in the fourth quarter, GM had a significant gain, actually, in their corporate loyalty and did very well in the fourth quarter of last year. Ford also has done very well and has been up for 7 consecutive quarters in terms of the corporate loyalty. So what I'm going to show you now is what we call our loyalty net migration. So what you're going to see is the arrows that are going to come out. If they're pointing toward the car company, it's the net migration of vehicles that they've taken from the other manufacturer. So let me let this thing fly here. And what you can see is that Honda, for example, is taking net vehicles from all of the other 4 manufacturers listed on the chart. Toyota's taking net all from but Honda, and so on. So you can kind of see this is what we track about kind of who's taking vehicles from whom. So it's an interesting phenomenon in what Hyundai's done to pick up in the market. They're taking customers from every single one of the big 6. So I think that's a terrific performance for them in 2010. And if you take a look at Nissan, while it's a lot more modest, they're taking from the other 5 other than Hyundai. I want to switch gears and talk just a little bit about the effect that auto finance has on the market share and loyalty. One of the things that you can see, if you look here, this is brand loyalty. And if you look at the effect of loans versus leases, there's more loyalty through customers that are doing leases for every single car company or a brand listed there, with the exception of Hyundai. The loyalty by score or credit score, what you'll see, this is across the different categories, you'll see loyalty can vary significantly. And if you look at different manufacturers, you'll see, for example, if you look at that, Mercedes-Benz, probably not a surprise, but the loyalty rises significantly as you get up into the prime and super prime. It's because those are the people that can afford their vehicles on a continuing basis, would buy usually the upper-end vehicles and buy vehicle after vehicle. So obviously a good cause for focus there. If you look at the Nissan and Infiniti line, you'll see it's a bit the reverse. The further they are in prime or subprime or deep subprime, the higher the loyalty is to their particular customer base from their finance company. So there's a lot you can notice here, one of which is the other speakers talked about subprime, and you'll see that on here it shows you that in most cases, with the exception of some of the higher end like Mercedes, the highest loyalty that they're finding actually is in subprime. So for those that can manage those programs, it is important to loyalty to look at how do I get the subprime customers back into the box in a good way.